John Bunting, when he was just 8, his friend's brother come in the bedroom and hurt both of the boys. And then called his friends and they come over and hurt both of the boys. And John never told anybody. When he was a teenager, he met this guy that was in his 40s, and they became really good friends, and they would hurt people that would hurt kids. Well, his friend ended up passing away from cancer. When John got older, he got married, and his wife had learning disabilities, and she said that he was really controlling. And when they were married, he ended up meeting another woman who had kids, and he ended up moving her in. So his wife had had enough and moved away, but they never got a divorce. So John ends up meeting Robert Wagner and Vanessa, who also goes by Barry. And Robert and Vanessa were dating. Vanessa was on the registry for people who hurt children, and he met Robert when Robert was just a kid and Vanessa was older. So when he meets them, he likes Robert because he feels for Robert. But he doesn't really like Vanessa, but he tolerates her because she knows people around the area that have hurt kids. So they're friends with this 17-year-old, and the 17-year-old, he wasn't close with his parents because he was gay and his family really couldn't accept it. So he wasn't really close to them. So he was kind of a loner, and it's really sad. It's sad that his family didn't accept him. So he hangs out with Vanessa, Robert, and John. Well, John's mean to him. So he says things to him. He's just really rude to him. And one day, they end up killing the young man. And it would be a while for anybody knew because he was a John Doe. So Vanessa at this time, Robert and her break up. So she starts dating a boy named Thomas. And this is when John says basically that he feels, I guess, Vanessa is not important to him anymore. So they end up killing her. Even Thomas helps. So they start getting barrels, and they call this case Snowtown because they would take the barrels to Snowtown where they would put the bodies. And it's also called Voices of the Dead because they would take tape recorders and have the victims say things into the video recorder. But then they would also make sure they knew stuff about him where they could get their money. So after they passed away, they would take their money. So this is where John's stepson, Jamie, as he gets older, he becomes close with John and he starts helping him. Well, Jamie tells John that his stepbrother had been hurting him as a kid. So they end up taking the stepbrother and they kill the stepbrother. Again, they do the thing that they always do. They video record, they take the money, and Jamie's friend, who they were living together at the time, well, the friend was on drugs bad, and so was Jamie. Well, John comes over and ends up sitting on a needle, and he's like, he's got to go. Basically, that's his thinking. He's got to go. So they end up killing the friend, but Jamie does not know their plan. So when Jamie comes home, they show Jamie what they had done, and John laughs like he just does not care. So it ends up bringing John and Jamie closer. So this is where they meet Ray, who, the reason that they met him because a woman that John had was having an affair with, she was taking advantage of Ray, but she was to make sure he was okay and all that. So she tells John that she's seen Ray hurting kids. So they end up taking Ray and killing him, and they take his money. And then the one that John was having the affair with, they end up killing her too. But it would never, they would say she died of a heart attack, and they could never disprove that. But what's weird is that after she died, to get her money, they basically took her body and put it in the barrel. Then, well, I got to go back a little bit because I forgot to say that with Vanessa, Thomas, the one that helped with her, he told his cousin what was going on. And John didn't know that he told the cousin, but he had a feeling that Thomas was going to wind up telling. So they ended up killing Thomas too. So this is where they meet, and this one's really sad because this man he was ran over, and because he was ran over, he struggled. And so the reason they killed him because they knew he was getting money. So they killed him to take his money. And they were also friends, this guy, Mark Hayden, who he was married to Elizabeth Hayden. And with Elizabeth Hayden, she had kids, and I don't know if her and Mark had any kids together, but she had kids, and then they met. So he helped with like covering up the bodies and stuff, and he ended up telling her. Well, he goes and tells John that he had told her. So when Mark goes out of town, they end up killing Elizabeth. And they also killed Elizabeth's nephew, which the girl that John was messing around with, so there was a girl that John was with, and it was her nephew, and Elizabeth was her sister. So he kills the nephew too. And he gets money from the nephew. So he's killed the nephew, he killed the aunt. And then the last victim was another one of Jamie's stepbrothers. And finally, they got caught. And Jamie's the one that really, I think, told a lot of the stuff. So he could get a lesser sentence. So he gets out next year, I think, and the rest will be in prison forever. But that's the story of the Snowtown murders.